US bases are being attacked in Syria. Guys, what does this mean? So recently an article was released, well actually it's all over the news. So US bases are now being targeted again in the Middle East. So this just feeds into this broader, the broader narrative now of the East versus West. The United States focusing its military in the Middle East. Again, I've been saying this for a long time. You're going to see these diversions now. The US is going to focus in the Middle East. The UK, Europe, and the rest of NATO are going to focus on Eastern Europe. So what does the article tell us then? So in an article from The Guardian, Iraqi militant group says it is resuming attacks on US forces as bases in Syria is targeted. So those of you who don't know, guys, the US forces are concentrated into the northern corridor of Syria. And again, I'm not saying there's any correlation here, but that's where all the oil is in Syria, in that northeast corridor on the Turkish border. So that's where all the, and even the picture that they've got in The Guardian has an oil derrick in the background. I think that's a little bit of a subliminal hit. So what does this mean, and what does this mean for the region in general? Well, first of all, it just shows that the vast swaths of instability there. This Iran attack that happened, this Israel-Iran, what do you call it, a conflict, a rift, this is just going to continue. And I said, as soon as Iran came out and said they weren't going to respond, what I did say is that Iran are going to put their money, their finances now into their proxies to attack their enemies in that region. So the guys, those special forces, well, I'm assuming they're special forces that are in Syria, they're massively vulnerable. Okay, I said when quite a while ago, I said the best thing that the Americans can do now is pull all their troops out of the Middle East. They don't need to be there. These bases that they've got them occupying, I just feel they're targets as things escalate. And as soon as American troops start to come home, start to die, unfortunately, that's just going to ratchet things up even further. That's going to give the United States more justification to be in there. What I do think is interesting, though, where are we? Hang on, let me just scroll down. Yeah, so Iraqi forces responded to the attack by launching a major search operation in northern Nineveh province. So I remember that when this solar eclipse happened in America, there was like, somebody did a video and there was like loads of different towns on the path of this solar eclipse, and they were all called Nineveh. And I'm not saying there is any correlation here, but this place is called Nineveh. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means if there's some sort of deeper meaning behind that. I have no idea. But what you can expect now these these Iranian-backed groups have started to ratchet up these attacks. You can just see this escalating further and further, because the United States will obviously then return with missile or drone strikes, and then these militant groups will just continue to, and you're just going to see this, you're just going to see this slowly progressing, slowly engulfing, and slowly pulling more resources in. Don't forget at this time, Israel is still fighting a war on two fronts, possibly even three very soon. So all this conflict in the Middle East, with Syria, with Iraq, with Israel, with Hamas, with all that sort of stuff, it's just going to drive everything further and further towards mass conflict in the Middle East, guys. That's what I think. Okay, that's a lot of speculation in there. But, who knows what's going to happen in the reality. What I do know is that we are living in very, very strange times indeed, because there's all this conflict, and what it seems like is there's these big conflicts, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, everybody seems to have forgotten about it. Let's not lose track of what's really happening out there in the Middle East, in Eastern Europe. And I think the US aid bill that they passed through, I don't know how it works in the United States, but basically they told us where the wars are going to be, They've given money to Israel, they've given money to Ukraine, and they've given money to Taiwan. So guess what? Guess where the three war fronts are going to be? Guys, that is it for today, and I will see you. In fact, I'm going to do some more videos, and I'll speak to you guys later.